And we are back for Weekend Wellbeing on the Weekend Wind Down Show. I'm Nathan Thomas and joined once again by our special guest, Karen Ferguson of the Maven Club. Hello, Karen. Good to see you again.
Hi Nathan, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thanks. How are you enjoying autumn?
Yep, we're getting there. We're getting through it. The fire's on, and yeah, life is good.
Life is very good. And we were talking about that last week, weren't we? How it does get colder, but actually it's important to have the right perspective on things and, sort of enjoy the good of it, which for me would be just the fact that it's just the air is so fresh. And I love that
Mhm.
about a winter morning. It may be cold, but it's
Yeah,
refreshing.
it is. Yeah, we got
Yeah,
to embrace that. You can always put more layers on, can't you? So
exactly. There is an advantage to that because in summer, if you get too hot, there's only so much you can do to get cool. But in winter, you can at least put more layers on, and there's a certain comfort in getting home and getting warm, which you can't enjoy during summer. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the kind of changing your perspective on the whole thing.
it's, yeah, and doing what you can to overcome it. We go and watch the rugby here in Glasgow, and I, as the season goes on, I count how many layers. So I, I usually get up to about 8 layers once it gets into the real winter, because you're sat there and it's just getting colder and colder and colder. So I look like the Michelin man going to watch rugby, but it's just at least I'm warm.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you mean there. Sometimes it might look silly, but hey, I'm warm and you're not.
Exactly. Who cares?
Yeah. Okay. So what have you got for us for this week's weekend wellbeing then?
Well, this weekend it's potentially somewhat controversial. Don't know if you've got a sound effect to put in there, but I wanted to bring up the subject of mobile phones. Because, whilst that is probably been part of your normality for your whole life, I actually recall getting my first mobile phone when I was 16, and I think it cost something like £1.80 a minute or something to make a call on it. So you never made a call on it because it was ridiculously expensive. But yeah, in your lifetime, mobiles would have just been a normality. And increasingly, they're such a part of our lives, and there's some incredibly good things about that, some really helpful things. I mean, I've chatted with you before about the fact that I'm learning Spanish, and to have when you get that brain fog, brain freeze, like I can't think of it, to have things that you can use from your phone just to translate and keep that dialogue going is incredible, as is using the map facility and being able to stay in contact. I find now as a mum of adult children, it's incredible to be able to all be in different places, live in different places, but be able to perhaps, go on a group chat, a video call, and all of that. So this is not about me slandering the phone, because it's got its use and it's an incredible thing. But it is also known to be a really negative thing in many relationships and lives, in that it can just dominate and take over and be such a distraction. And it does have that very addictive nature to it, particularly things like social media. Again, social media, it's, got so much good that can happen through it, but there's also this negative side. And sometimes you can find that this relationship with phones can be quite time consuming. It can have an addictive nature, and it can just take us away from being present in what we're doing. I don't know if you've been to like a concert recently or something, but nowadays everybody's got their phone out recording it rather than just enjoying it. And it's a shift in how we are and how we do things, but it's a shame when it invades our sense of being present in our relationships. And so I think it's just really about raising an awareness as to when our phones stop being something that complements our life and starts to become something that is intrusive or a distraction or unhealthy in our relationships and our time, or interferes with our well-being, how we're feeling, our ability to sleep, all of those types of things. So I have increasingly learned to go out without my phone. And, there's times where that's not very sensible, especially if, I tend to use the pay facility and stuff. So it's no good not having it if you're going out and you need them to buy things. But where it has been things like just going for a walk or anything like that, I've just been reminding myself that the world will not fall apart if I don't have my phone about my person. We used to survive without having immediate contact all the time. I appreciate I'm at a stage in life where, yes, I've got adult children. So the demands on me are not quite the same as they would be for some listeners. So it might not be possible for some people to kind of leave their phone behind to have some phone-free time. But I'd like just to challenge that idea of perhaps having some phone fasts. So could there be some opportunities to intentionally say, okay, for the next half an hour, I'm actually not going to engage with my phone or look at my phone. I'm going to make sure I'm present in this conversation or whatever it might be. It might be that you decide to fast phones at the dinner table, for example, and decide to all be present and try to eat together. It's not for me to decide what works in people's lives, but I just want to challenge you. Is there an opportunity and a place for you to decide to just put your phone down for a while and be very present and see how that might work for you? So this weekend, could you plan just a phone-free time, whether that's 10 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, a whole day? What might that look like in your lives to go phone-free and to be very, very present and to let the notifications come in, let the activity happen, but not respond to that stuff immediately? And just see how that could positively impact your well-being and also your relationships. So that is a controversial but quite a big challenge that I hope will be something that people can start to do more regularly and just see the benefits of having some phone-free times carved out to be present.
Mm. That is, I guess it is a bit controversial, isn't it? Because our phones are such an integrated part of our everyday lives. I mean, everything, as you say, from navigation to communication to just even paying nowadays. More and more, it seems as though you can't really live without a phone. And there are certain things you can't actually do, which are kind of important in banking, for example, without a phone of some kind, because you have to get an app, don't you, to pay for
Yeah.
parking, for example. So nowadays, they're becoming more and more important. But it is worth remembering, I suppose, what you're saying is it's a tool, and it's important that we don't let it use the tool, don't let the tool use you, is there?
Yeah, exactly, Nathan. It's not, I mean, believe me, I haven't I use my phone for loads of things. Like, I've done internet banking for years and years and years. I use it for paying. I use it for so many things. This is not about knocking it, but it's just about the times that we get drawn into thinking that we can't live without it, and it just being a special space that we have where actually that notification coming in doesn't distract us, because it's become more and more commonplace for the phone to dominate everything. And so conversations happen, a notification comes in, somebody is then distracted by their phone and they leave their real life current activity and conversation, pause that to address whatever's happening through this device. And so my challenge really is not to live without your phone, but it is about, could you carve out some time where you just keep it in a different room or put it in a box or something so that you can have some really present time with whoever you're with in that moment, and not be interrupted by those other distractions.
Mm, very true. And that is something to be just cautious to be aware of. And I think it's something probably, I mean, I know for me, I've definitely fallen into the same trap of just kind of relying upon my phone. Just it's constantly with me, constantly looking at it, constantly checking it. And it's actually, yeah, it can be really, just consumes you, doesn't it? And it can get really and kind of exhausting, kind of depressing as well. But yeah, I think it's something we can all do, and I will definitely want to try and do is set aside time, whether that is just meal times. I mean, I think we've always had that rule in our house. We try not to have phones at the table, just because if you're going to be there eating, you don't want to be multitasking because that's just not healthy. Because one thing about phones is that it allows you to carry on working, or for example, even while you're technically resting. You can bring it with you to the meal table. You can bring it with you on a walk. You can bring it with you on all these times when you're not actually enjoying what you're doing, because again, you're still being distracted by this device. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And it can
hard.
be quite controlling, can't it? I mean,
Yeah.
the first sort of few times that I thought, right, I'm just going to go out for a walk and I'm going to leave it here. And actually, one of the things for me is it's like, oh, then it's not counting my step activity for the day. And I'm like, come on, this is ridiculous. It doesn't stop the fact that I'm still going for a walk. And it's just that sense of it having a real hold and a grip and a control over your life. And so it is just reclaiming that. And I think sometimes, sadly, we don't notice that it might be the first thing that we do in the morning rather than saying hello to somebody or talking to a human being. It might just be that looking at the phone is the first thing that we do or the last thing we do at night. Sometimes we don't even notice that we were in the middle of a conversation and then we been distracted. I would sort of, it's become so normal for us that we're not always aware of it. And that's the challenge really, is could you carve out that time where it doesn't dominate you, but you kind of put it in its place, and have some really present time with those that you care about.
Yeah, yeah, and that is really the key, isn't it? We don't want it to do to prevent us from being able to enjoy the company of people we love or enjoy the life that we have. And as you say, it can sort of it can put a damper on things sometimes, can't it? So yeah, that's a really good challenge. Thank you so much, Karen. And I think one that we can all be aware of in this digital age when everything seems to be electronic nowadays. I mean, I know for me, I would need my phone. It's an important tool. I mean, I use it for all kinds of important work as part of the radio station, for research, for general communication. It's really important. But it's also worth remembering it's still a tool and it needs to be kept in its place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much, Karen. It's been a pleasure as always. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Did you know that at Pure 24/7 Radio we also offer advertising? Advertising really does work. Let's face it, you're listening to this. Want to know more? Well, just go to pure247radio.org, pure247radio.org/advertising, and you can get everything you want and more there.